Hey guys, last week I made a video about a school teacher in Loudoun County, Virginia. I believe his name was Tanner Cross. And he was suspended for telling the school board he would not lie to his students and tell boys that they're girls and girls that they're boys. And so the school board suspended him and they were trying to fire him. It went to court, and thank God he went before a good judge, an originalist judge, the kind of judges that Donald Trump promised to appoint and that he did appoint. I don't know if this judge was appointed by him or if it was a state judge. But either way, it was a good judge who said the school board has no right to take away this school teacher's First Amendment rights of freedom of speech and freedom of religion. So it was a great victory for a Christian school teacher. But this county, the school board is run by liberals. And not only were they trying to force teachers to tell students who were confused and little boys thinking they were little girls that they were little girls, basically lying to them, they also forced a law through, I don't know if you would call it a law, an ordinance, whatever, but in Loudoun County called 8040 was the number, Prop 8040 or whatever. But anyway, it allowed boys that identified as girls to use the girls' restrooms. What could go wrong there? These people are not only evil, but they're stupid if they think that we are going to go along with this. So they forced this through against the parents, and you see it on TV, these parents shouting and yelling. These are the kind of things parents are getting mad at. They're not getting mad out of something silly. They're saying, I don't want my little girl. I have one daughter. And I would not want my daughter to go in the bathroom that boys, high school boys, could go in. I mean, we've seen the left in these liberal cities like LA pass these laws for public bathrooms. And we've seen, the obvious things that could go wrong there. We've seen that African-American woman, her video went viral because she walked into a spa with her daughter and this guy Schlang was hanging out. And, she's like, why is that man in there? And they said, well, he identifies as a woman. She says, so you're going to put this man's right above women's rights. When I'm a feminist who fought for equality for years, now you're saying a man's right outweighs my right if he identifies as a woman. So it's almost kind of funny watching the left eat themselves, but it's not funny when they try these ridiculous experiments on our school children. And in Loudoun County, that's what they did. And what happened was the Daily Wire broke the story this week, and they confirmed it with the sheriff of Loudoun County, that a boy who said he identified as a girl, wore a skirt one day to school, went into the girls' bathroom and viciously raped and sodomized a 9th grade girl. And what did that woke liberal school board do? The teachers are told not to call the police in a situation like that, but call the superintendent. So then the superintendent transfers the kid to another school, covers it up, doesn't tell anybody, and that kid rapes another girl, doing the same thing, pretending he's a girl going to a girl's bathroom. You should be furious. And let me take a breath because this gets me so angry. And what does the mainstream media do? They're ignoring this story. But what they're showing is angry parents, and they're not telling you why these angry parents are angry. I remember seeing one clip of this father attacking a superintendent, the cops throwing him down and arrested him. And they're saying these parents are out of control. We got to get the FBI involved. These parents are terrorists. I find out yesterday that father was the father of the girl who was viciously raped and sodomized. I don't think there's any red-blooded American dad who wouldn't have done the same. I love cops. My son-in-law is a cop, and I back the blue. But I would have gave those cops a much harder fight. Those cops it would have taken more than 2 cops to pull me down if I seen the superintendent that covered up this heinous crime. But instead, the media is showing these parents like they're crazy. Oh, these are right-wing Trumpers. But these parents are all from diverse backgrounds. They're just seeing, because of the pandemic, they were seeing what these kids were being taught. And ironically, first they were going against all this, woke, gender fluid crap where boys can go in girls' bathrooms. That was the first thing that got them angry. Then they, started investigating more and seeing this critical race theory, which is nothing more than a Marxist indoctrination, to get kids to hate America. So they started protesting that. Once that got protested, our Attorney General, Merrick Garland, got involved because, lo and behold, his son-in-law sells the critical race theory throughout America. His son-in-law, who's just a normal guy, became a millionaire selling this stuff. And this is how these corrupt politicians do it. They get their family involved and they protect them. Just like Joe Biden's family all became rich based on his connections. Nancy Pelosi's husband got their net worth up to $300 million in the last few years. That's how all these corrupt politicians do it. But parents are seeing it. And what we need to do, we need to recall these school boards. And if there's no recall in the law, you need to vote them out. It's easy. I mean, look at these. Now parents are seeing the people that run the school board are not very intelligent. They really are not the smartest people. They're just people that love power and control. And they try and get their woke, anti-Christian agenda in. And this is how they're doing it. So we need to vote them all out. We need to get all these school boards voted out. And support good Christian people. Like I said in my last video or video before, it takes one big church in your town to get someone elected. Because most towns maybe have 20,000 people. They say like less than half the people are registered to vote. And then in off-year elections where there's like school boards and local city councilors, only half of them actually vote. So you're talking 5,000 people. It's a lot of churches. My church has 6,500 people. If you can get one church to solidly vote for good people, we can change the landscape of America. We are a nation that governs of the people, by the people, for the people. We're not ruled. We're governed by ourselves. We just elect representatives to represent our ideas. And obviously these school boards have other ideas than 90% of the parents. Half of these school board leaders don't even have kids in school. That should be a basic requirement. If you do get on a school board, make that a rule. You can't be on the school board unless you have a kid in the school. So anyway, this is sickening, disturbing. Sorry to give you this disturbing news, but I just wanted to give you an update on that county because, we talked about, town across from that county. And just know the tide is changing. They're not going to go down without a fight. The mainstream media is on their side because they all went to the same elite universities and got the same indoctrination from the same Marxist professors. So if you don't see this on the mainstream media, look around. You'll find it. The Daily Wire is the newspaper that broke the story, and they got confirmation from the sheriff. This is a true story that should be blasted all over the news, but I'm sure it won't be. But keep the faith. Keep the faith. I know some of you guys get weak, and I know there's going to be some comments from Catholic haters that, that's what the Catholic Church do. They hide their bad priests. Well, you know what? I've done plenty of videos on this. You can look them up. According to Charles Shakeshaft, a PhD, who was hired by the school board to investigate child abuse from school teachers. This was from a kid I'm talking about. She said in a 10-year period, she compared it to the Catholic Church. In a 10-year period, in a 50-year period, there were 10,000 of these abuse allegations. United States public schools in a 10-year period, so 1/5 the amount of time, had 280,000 credible allegations against child abuse. And what did the superintendents do in those cases? The same thing they did with the kid. They hid the teachers. So although our Catholic Church has sins that we need to address of hiding bad priests, and every bad priest and every bishop that hid them, I believe, need to be thrown into the general population of the worst prison, and everybody in the prison needs to know what they did, and then they need to spend eternity in hell. That's my opinion, but I'm not God. But it pales to compare with what's going on in the public school. There's evil permeates everywhere, and we got to call it out, whether it's in our church or whether it's in the public schools. But our church changed the policies. Our church has addressed the process. If you catch a child abuse, you call the cops. You don't call your bishop. Public schools are still calling their superintendent, which is like their bishop of their false religion of wokeness. So The Catholic Church, for all their sins, is nothing compared to the public school system in America. And like I said, in the past few years, there's been very few allegations because we changed the policy how we deal with abusers and demonic evil priests. But the public schools haven't changed. They're getting worse. They're getting worse. Not only are they protecting teachers, now they're protecting rapist students because it hurts their agenda, because they know this experiment isn't going to, these parents aren't going to allow it anymore. Parents will not allow this. Do not allow a school to let boys in girls' bathrooms. It's just common sense. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. Who thought this was a good idea? The woke, liberal politicians, well, maybe they thought it was a good idea, but I'm thinking it's more about the money. Everything is generated by money. You see, Merrick Garland's son made millions of dollars with this policy. They didn't care if it hurt kids. It helped their checkbook. So get involved, vote, and pray. And always stay Catholic.